Energy is often defined as the ability to do work, or something required to make things happen. But what does this mean? Often, my students think that this is a fuel or some kind of fluid that flows from one place to another without us seeing it, or something that is only contained within living things. But none of these are true. Energy is quite a mysterious thing, as we can't always see it and feel it, but we can observe its effects. This is why its definition is often tied to its ability to make things happen, because that is how we observe its effects, though nothing has to be happening for an object to actually have energy. Let's have a look at the different stores of energy and the types of situations and objects in which that store might occur. A chemical energy store is in the bonds between molecules and is transferred when chemical reactions take place. The most obvious chemical energy stores are fuels, as they transfer energy by heating when they're burned. But chemical energy is also stored in food, your muscles and batteries. The elastic potential energy store is found in stretched or compressed objects. The energy is transferred to another form, usually kinetic, when an object goes back into its original shape. The thermal energy store is in all objects that exist in the universe, as it is the energy stored in the atoms of objects due to the tiny movements they make. All materials with a temperature above minus 273 degrees C, known as absolute zero, have atoms or molecules that move. So this fire has energy in its thermal energy store, and surprisingly, so does this iceberg. The movement of atoms and molecules increases with temperature, so the higher the temperature of a particular object, the more energy there is in its thermal energy store. So even though the iceberg is really cold, there is still some energy in its thermal energy store. The nuclear energy store is found in the nucleus of atoms and is only released by nuclear processes that change the structure of the nucleus. This could happen in a natural process like radioactive decay or fusion in stars, or in man-made devices such as nuclear reactors and nuclear bombs. All atoms have nuclear energy inside their nucleus, but we often ignore this in energy problems, as the nuclear energy store is rarely involved in the process that we're studying. Kinetic means movement. The amount of energy in an object's kinetic energy store depends on its mass and its velocity. The faster and more massive an object is, the more energy is in its kinetic energy store. Some students think that when an object is not moving, it does not have any energy. But it does, it's just not in the kinetic energy store, it's somewhere else. The gravitational potential energy store is found in objects because of their position in a gravitational field and their mass. On a planet, this means the higher an object is above the ground, and the more massive it is, the more gravitational potential energy it has. So someone standing on the summit of a mountain has more energy in their gravitational potential energy store than an apple in a tree. When an object falls, the gravitational potential energy is transferred into another energy store, usually kinetic. An object will have energy in its magnetic energy store if it is within a magnetic field, and affected by that magnetic field. Like these fridge magnets stuck to the fridge, or a piece of iron held stationary next to a magnet. When the iron is released, it will move towards the magnet because the energy in its magnetic energy store is being transferred to its kinetic energy store. The electrostatic energy store is similar to the magnetic energy store, but for electric fields. If an object is within an electric field and affected by the field, then there will be energy in its electrostatic energy store. For example, these balloons are sticking to the wall because they have static charge, so there is some energy in their electrostatic energy store. When a positively charged ball is held next to a negatively charged Van de Graaff generator, the ball has energy in its electrostatic energy store. This is transferred to kinetic energy when the ball is released and moves towards the Van de Graaff. That's all the energy stores. If you're finding this useful, please like, subscribe and hit the bell to make sure my next video drops straight into your feed. And check out my other videos. We've looked at energy stores which describe how energy exists within objects and systems. Now let's look at energy transfers, which describe how energy gets moved between stores, objects and systems. There are 4 types. Electrical work is used to transfer energy between energy stores in electric circuits. If a current flows, then electrical work is being done. Mechanical work is done when a force moves an object through a distance. For example, mechanical work is done when an object falls, because the weight of the object pulls the object down through the distance it falls. These people are doing mechanical work because they are applying a force to move this car through a distance. Heating occurs when a temperature difference between an object and either another object or its surroundings occurs. Energy will be transferred out of the thermal energy store of an object if it is at a higher temperature than its surroundings, or energy will be transferred into the thermal energy store of an object if it is cooler than its surroundings. Radiation is energy transferred by waves. This is usually sound waves or electromagnetic waves such as light or infrared. So now you know the types of energy stores and the 4 ways that energy can be transferred between them. Next, we'll be having a look at one of the fundamental laws of physics, conservation of energy. If you want to be notified when this video drops, please like, subscribe and hit the bell. See you next time.